Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
Is about the contending narratives that you talked about earlier. You talked about Tiananmen in 1989. And I'm wondering if I can ask you perhaps to compare that with what's happening today. There was, we saw in the last few weeks, for example, the doctor in Wuhan, the whistleblower, who then died subsequently, Dr. Li Wenliang, I think his name was. And there was a lot of conversation about how that people should have, that the Chinese state could have perhaps come out more into the open. So how would you compare what happened in 1989 at Tiananmen, which was then suppressed, and today?
Well, I think there's three parts to that. One is Tiananmen certainly was a reflection of popular discontent and of popular demands for change, but they got strength and had effect and had to be suppressed because they also got a reflection within the leadership, because there were elements within the leadership, and the leadership was divided about how to deal with these demands for change, how to deal with the students in the square, and that's what made it politically explosive. Today, you don't see that situation yet. Secondly, the rest of the world reacted to Tiananmen without, everybody condemned it, said what a terrible thing. But I think the prospect of preserving their relationship with China, of supporting reformers in China, at that time, the West still hoped that a market economy in China would ultimately lead China to become much more like the West, a hope which they've abandoned now. I think that led to an immediate amelioration in practice. Within a year and a half, it was business as usual with China. Within 3 months of Tiananmen, the US NSA Scowcroft was in Beijing. So its domestic political effect is different. The international reaction is also different. Thirdly, this is a very different China from the China of 1989. In effect, the burst of growth that Deng Xiaoping's policies produced after 1992 have meant that the regime could then turn its back on Tiananmen and ignore it. And it's the great, the word that's never spoken. Or never mentioned. And frankly, it's not as though on Chinese campuses, young people all feel very strongly about Tiananmen. They don't even understand what it was about. I mean, China's moved on. Today, I'm not sure that a burst of economic prosperity is going to be able to wipe out the memory of this crisis or what it meant. So this is going to simmer. This is going to take time. This is not like Tiananmen, one short, sharp military action, and then try and get reform back on track, deliver prosperity, get to business as usual with the rest of the world, all of which was done within 2.5 years, within 3 years certainly. So this is a very different situation. I don't think history repeats itself. No, not in this case. I mean, you can... and in fact, I think the differences actually tell us more about where we are today than we were before.